Hello everybody, my name is Emma and this is my first ever BookTube video. Can't quite believe I'm filming this already. I've been meaning to do it for years, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But as everybody's getting ready to go back to school, I thought this is the best time. So to introduce myself a little bit, my name is Emma. I am a 23-year-old student living in Canada, and I've been admiring the BookTube community for absolutely ever. Pretty much since I started watching YouTube. Books are my life, in case you couldn't tell. I just love to share my ideas and share my thoughts and become part of this community where I can talk to you guys about books. Figured since my first day of filming is the first day that many people are going back to school here in Canada, September 4th, what's better than to do the It's Finally Fall book tag. Right, so number one, in the fall the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. And the book that I'm choosing to be my book with a vivid setting is Colourful by Stephanie Garber. I read this book for the first time this summer at the very beginning near May, and I flew through it. I'd heard very mixed things about it, but the setting in this of the carnival with all of the magic and all of the mystery and all the illusion that goes along with it was absolutely incredible. I felt like I was there. None of the magical elements that you feel like you would have need to stretch your imagination for felt hard to read. Like, I understood everything that was going on as it was happening, and it felt like I was watching a movie. Any setting with magic in it will make me over the moon excited, but this one really was unique in its carnival setting, and it really blew me away. Question number two. Nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. The book that I chose for this question is Monkey Beach by Eden Robinson. I first read Monkey Beach last year during my Canadian Lit class, and I absolutely loved it. I've read Eden Robinson before. She's one of the most famous Canadian female writers ever, and she's absolutely incredible. I read a bunch of her short stories for my Canadian Women Writing class, and I read her newest novel that just came out, Son of a Trickster. If you haven't read it, read it. It's incredible. Monkey Beach is the story of Lisa Marie, a Haisla native girl in British Columbia, dealing with the sudden disappearance of her little brother Jimmy, who's gone lost at sea. The story travels Lisa Marie as she tries to find her brother. It also mixes some slight paranormal vibes along with jumping between present day Lisa Marie trying to find her brother and Lisa Marie and Jimmy's past. Including the flashbacks to Lisa Marie's childhood really helps to give the reader some context as to the family dynamics of the Hill family and why her brother may have gone off to sea in the first place. This story is funny, it is entertaining, it is fascinating, but it is also dealing with a lot of grief, not only with Lisa Marie herself and their family, but also their entire community. Fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. The book that I'm sharing for this one is Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World by Jack Weatherford, and the reason I'm choosing this is because I read it in my Asian World and Ascendancy history class a couple of years ago, and it was my first real introduction into Genghis Khan and the life that he led. I am a huge history nerd. I absolutely love it. Historical fiction is one of my favorite genres, but I've never really read much nonfiction outside of school, but this is one of the first ones that I've actually really enjoyed. It's got a very narrative feel to the way that Jack Weatherford wrote his history. It's not so stuffy like a textbook, but it actually does read like a story, and I think that helped quite a bit in my understanding, but it's really continued my fascination with Genghis Khan and the entire Mongol Empire, and if you're interested in that kind of thing, I really would recommend reading it. Number 4. In order to keep warm, it's important to spend time with the people that we love. Name a fictional family or household that you would like to become a part of. For this question, I don't think there is any other answer than the Weasley family from Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. The Weasley family is probably one of the best family dynamics I have ever read in a book. I love that they are flawed, I love that they are not perfect, and I love that it's a big family. I am an only child, so I don't have those sibling relationships or really big family dynamics in my own household. So it's really interesting to read such a close-knit family. The family is just so welcoming and so kind to everybody that they meet, and I think being a part of their lives for a day would probably be one of the most heartwarming days I've ever had. Number 5, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. And here they are. So the books that I chose for my fall-colored spines are Circe by Madeline Miller. Which one is this? The Girl Who Played with Fire by Stieg Larsson. The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan. The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. Ruin and Rising by Lee Bardugo. And The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. Those colors make me so happy, you have no idea. Okay, number 6. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone is telling a story. The book that I chose for this question is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. The Name of the Wind shares the story of Kvothe, who is one of the most infamous people in this world. He's practically a legend, and the book starts off with him in the present moment relaying his story and his life's work to a few people sitting in this bar. I first heard about this book from Reagan over at Peruse Project, and she described it as one of the most epic fantasy tales that she's ever read, and fantasy is my absolute favorite genre. So I thought I'd give it a go, and then I read the blurb on the back of the book, and it is really gripping, so I'm going to read it to you. My name is Kvothe. I have stolen princesses back from sleeping Barrow kings. I burned down the town of Traven. I have spent the night with Valerian and left with both my sanity and my life. I was expelled from the university at a younger age than most people are allowed in. I tread paths by moonlight that others fear to speak of during day. I have talked to gods, loved women, and written songs that make minstrels weep. You may have heard of me. I love it so much. I cannot wait for the 3rd book in this series to come out, but if you haven't read this yet and you're a fantasy fan, I absolutely tell you to give it a go. Number 7, The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a cold, creepy read. The book that I've chosen for this question is You by Caroline Kepnes. I first heard of this book from Katie over at Chapter Stacks, and it is a story told from the point of view of a stalker. It's a psychological thriller, and it's actually currently being made into a TV show, which is pretty cool. But it's told from the perspective of Joe, who is a man who works in the little local bookstore in New York. And during one of his regular shift days, Joe comes across a girl named Beck and becomes obsessed and follows her around and becomes a part of her life in the most creepy way possible. And having a psychological thriller told from the point of view of the villain, or in this case the stalker, is a really unique perspective. You don't get it very often, and I thought it was a really great take on this type of story. Joe, for whatever reason, is my favorite character in this book. He's the most creepy person I've ever read, but the way that Caroline wrote this book really makes you empathize with him a little bit. I can't believe I'm saying that. But it's one of the best psychological thrillers I've ever read, and I really recommend that you give it a try. Okay. Number 8, The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. Now, I had a really hard time with this because, 1, I don't own very many short books at all, and 2, none of the books I really read are very heartwarming. I tend to read pretty dark, either psychological thrillers, historical fictions, or fantasy books. I don't really read contemporary. I don't really read any light, fluffy books, but I think the closest one that I could get to a heartwarming small read was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. It is such a fun book, and all the characters are so intriguing and so funny and have such quirky personalities. And it's only about 80 pages long, so I mean it's not a hard book to read. If you're really looking for something light and fluffy, I think this would be a great start, and it is a great introduction into the classics if you were looking to do that as well. Fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. For this question, I actually just picked up this book from the bookstore because I realized that I unhauled it years ago and really regretted it because I wanted to read it again, and that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. This book is the book that got me into reading. Not Harry Potter, not Percy Jackson. This was the first series that I really, really loved and really wanted to devour in one sitting. I don't remember how old I was when I first read this book. I think I was about 9 or 10. In my grade 5 class, my teacher was having us read Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk, and I loved the writing, and so I went and looked her up, and I found Inkheart. Inkheart is the story of a man named Mo and his daughter Maggie after he accidentally reads the villain out of one of the books that he is reading one night called Inkheart. The idea of this book really gripped me right from the start. I obviously love to read, and I always have loved to read. It's always been encouraged greatly in my household. Both my parents love it and most of my family loves it. And the idea that you could read characters out of a book into the real world really made my day. I really wish it was something I could do nowadays still. But I haven't read this since I was small, so I'm really excited to give it a go again. It won't be a hard read. It's a middle grade book. It'll take me a few hours, but I think fall especially will be the perfect time to do it. And I'm really excited. Okay, and finally, number 10. Fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite reading accessories. Okay, I'm pretty lucky in the fact that I don't need many things to have a really good reading night. But the two things that I do really need are some kind of hot beverage. Here's my basic pumpkin spice latte, even though it's 27 degrees outside. And the only other thing I really need are candles. And this is a really cute candle that I just found that's in the shape of a pumpkin, so I thought it was appropriate for fall. And I think the scent is sweet cinnamon pumpkin or pumpkin pecan waffle, one of the two, but either way it is a cinnamon lover's dream. I love the idea of just shutting everything off, getting myself a hot cup of tea or a hot cup of coffee, lighting a candle, and just enjoying whatever book that I'm in. I don't usually listen to music or listen to TV anymore. I like to just sit in silence and listen to the noises of my house, just from my parents wandering around. And then I can really get immersed into the book itself and the plot and the world, and it just is my favorite thing to do in the fall and every other time of year. Okay, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and look forward to seeing some new videos soon. And please leave me a comment below telling me your favorite fall read and your favorite place to read in the fall. I will see you guys later, and have a wonderful day.